Hello. This is going to be take number 2. I'm trying again because the internet signal was giving me challenges at the office, and in watching the playback, it is too chopped up, and I feel like people won't watch all the way through on the playback. And for those that are live, I hope you're still out there and can join in again. Colette and Kayla, thanks for hanging in there the first time. But there was some important pieces and insights that I think would be really helpful for anybody's journey. So I want to go through it again and just share so that it's in one continuous segment that's easy to listen to and follow. So thank you first for all of the Reiki healing and prayers and healing energy that was sent to me last night. I did bring my fever around 2 o'clock and I'm feeling heaps better, but wanted to talk about it. So what brought on that fever? And from my experience, anything in the body that is fever, rash, hives, acne, eczema, skin stuff, warts, viruses of the skin tend to be related to anger, especially unexpressed anger. And I have found that anytime I have a big breakthrough on an energetic and emotional level, when I'm doing some deep spiritual work and I really move through something, my body physically, the physical body still has to catch up. So 2 weeks ago, I'll backtrack for you. 2 weeks ago on Monday, I had a session with my own coach, and we moved through something that I've been working on for years, and I feel like it was the final piece. I actually had a being attached to me that was creating events where in certain situations in my life, I would be triggered by a situation and go into an anger that was so much bigger than it should have been for that particular situation. And I could feel thoughts, words, things coming out of my mouth that weren't mine, that would not be like how I would normally see myself reacting to a situation like that. And not to blame another spirit, because they can't attach to us unless we have that own injury within us. But becoming really aware and conscious of it and desiring to change it, knew that I had some things to work through. And so this final piece, in releasing that being and really letting go of this it was a past life connection, and it was all about me actually killing someone in a fit of rage back then in the medieval times. And this being that I killed actually in the moment of death clung to my soul and has been around for a couple hundred years, hanging out with me and creating patterns in my life that are definitely not helpful or helping me to move out of anger and into a place of more love. So as I'm focused on love in this journey, in this life, that had to go. And so what did that mean? It meant I had to move through it in my physical body. So here I had 3 days of fever and moved through it. Hi, Noelle. Good to see you. So 3 days of fever, had to move through it. My son had 5 days. So where was that? I had a little heads up that it was coming, because as soon as it hit, I knew most of it. Yes, my body was weak and there is a physical aspect, but I knew intuitively that it was linked to the final clearing on the physical body level of all that I just released in the emotional and energetic 10 days before. So knowing also, I really believe that everything that we clear in our own journey, all of our own wounds that we inherit from our parents in vitro, all the emotional stuff that my parents didn't want to clear before they had me, came to me. Thank you very much, Mom and Dad. But that's how the generations pass it on. It's an emotional thing that comes through in the soul, in vitro. And so why are kids different and why are kids the same? Some brothers and sisters are very similar, whereas others are very different. And it has to do with the emotions that the parents were living through at the time that they were conceived and during the pregnancy. So sometimes those situations stay very constant and similar, especially when siblings are very close in age. When they have larger gaps, the siblings can be quite different in their personality traits and what emotionally triggers them, whatever, because of that gap and where the parents are at in their life journey at that point. So that said, what does that mean for my family? Because I see the potential to heal generations forward and back. And so for me, this all came up becoming a parent. And maybe for you, it's not parenting and having children around that triggers you, because our kids are our absolute mirrors, especially through the first 7 years. They are showing us everything that we're in denial of in ourselves. And they, if you can look at it that way, you're going to start seeing a lot of insight just coming from your young kids. After age 7, yes, they are still mirroring us, but they are also taking on their own life decisions based on their wounded self that we've passed on to them. So seeing it forward and back, when I healed that in myself, and I've done this for the past 8.5 years, because when my son was about 1.5 years old is when I started seeing the pattern in me. So at about 18 months old, maybe in 2 years, he started having enough free will to say, I'm not going to put that diaper on, or no, I'm not going to get dressed, and I have free will and I can choose on it. This is what I want and this is what I don't want. And he was very staunch on it. And so what could I do but, right, throw my hands up and get really angry, because that's what my parents did. And I found myself wanting to spank him or swatting his butt and going, whoa, where did that come from? And then having to check myself and go back and go, wow, that wasn't me. What just came out of my mouth wasn't me. If milk got spilt, I overreacted huge because my mother overreacted huge to that kind of thing. So that coming out of my mouth and going, whoa, I just became my mom, or I just became my dad, gave me the awareness to start breaking it apart, to start unraveling it and diving into my own stuff. So where was my own pain in my childhood of being spanked or being yelled at, or having this going into fear because my mom or dad was so mad about something, and really having a chance to go through and work through all my anger at them for that, for my own free will being shut down when I didn't want to wear those clothes at 2 and 3 years old, or not understanding why they were so angry and running down the hallway with my butt against the wall so dad couldn't spank me again. I remember those things, and they were very traumatic at that age. Things that big people do to very little people are very traumatic when you're that little person. And so having that conscious awareness as I became a parent and as I'm moving through parenting, because I'll tell you what, I've had 8.5 years of mistakes. I'm not going to deny that. I'm certainly not perfect, and I'm learning to love myself as not being perfect. But it's opportunity. It's God giving me insight and capacity to see it consciously and go, oh, that needs to change. And so I'm so grateful that I can change, and I see the dynamic changing, because every time that I do something for myself and break through something and release it, I see a dynamic change in my relationship with my boys. And I also see them change, and they will go through it in their own way and have meltdowns and go through some big emotional stuff right after I do in the next few days, because I've freed up the energy for their own body to move through it. And I do believe that it goes both ways. They talk about being able to heal generationally in our DNA. And I know there's new studies coming out about that, about actually seeing genetic change forward and back in generations as someone heals something. But my own experience, yes, witnessing it in my boys and witnessing it with my grandmother, my maternal grandmother especially, and I've been able to connect to all of my grandparents in the spirit world because they've all passed. But my maternal grandmother has been around me for years. She's very close to me, and I have watched her go through her own growth in the spirit world based on what I have been doing and sharing those realizations with her and having that energetic clear, and then seeing her open up to her own pain in that field. So I do really believe that that is the ripple effect that we have on this planet, and how we're going to move into really healing as a planet, as a population, and move into love is by each of us making our own little strides and changing that dynamic forward and back in our own generational line, and then in all the people's lives that we touch, because every piece of growth I go through and can share with you or someone else, that's going to help change that, right? So hi, Colette. Thanks for joining on this one. I'm trying it again because it just came too choppy. So this replay will definitely be better. Anyway, moving forward and back generationally with our wounds, and how to do that, and just becoming conscious. So maybe you're not a parent. Maybe kids being a reflection for you, or triggering you into your anger or frustration, or whatever your particular challenge is. That happened to be my big one. But your relationship, start watching any relationship you have, especially if it's a partner, husband, wife, close brothers and sisters, roommates that you're around all the time. What situations are triggering you, and what emotions are they triggering you into? And turn and start looking at those from your childhood. Where did that pattern come from? Especially when you see things coming out of your mouth that you really know aren't you at your core level. So having those things come out of my mouth at my kids, I'm going, oh, that's exactly what my mom or dad said. Or maybe you can go, oh, that's exactly what my first husband said. Or that's exactly what my dad said to mom all the time, and not my partner saying it to me. It's because there's something there, there's a dynamic there that needs to be healed. And that's all. And so if you need help getting clarity on that, that's my passion, my love. I'm happy to chat with you to see what program or things might be workable for you to move through some stuff. That's what I do, and that's what I love. So hopefully this second run at this made some sense, and that there's some insights there for you. And if you have questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. I will respond, even if it's not today or during the live. I always go back and respond to those, and you're always free to message me direct questions, but by putting them in the comments of the video, then other people can benefit from the answers too. So thank you again for all the healing energy that was sent my way. I'm grateful to have moved through it in 3 days and not 5 like my son. He definitely dealt with it a little bit longer. But wishing you insight in your own healing, wishing you conscious awareness of the patterns in your life. What are the patterns in your life that are coming from other places that aren't really you at your core? That's what it's about. So have a great Tuesday. Thanks for tuning in, and enjoy the replay if you're coming back later. Bye.